Hey guys, Matt Butler here at the Basement Studio. Would you like your home drums to sound like this? And stay tuned to this series. Hey guys, Matt Butler here at the Basement Studios. We're on to the next miking of the drum set, where we're going to talk about the next set of ambient mics if you have the room for it, because we're emphasizing, again, small recording spaces, home studios, things like that. If you have the room for room mics, I like to use the rule of 3-to-1 distance, like from the overheads. Like I measured my overheads from the equidistant from the snare, and then I took that measurement and multiplied it by 3, and that's how far away my room mics are. That way you keep good phase coherency with your overheads and everything else in the overall image of the drums. As far as where I like to set the microphones, and in this case you'll notice I actually have my room mics kind of close. They're not a real far stereo pair, and the reason for that is because if you see my distance from the walls, since it is a smaller space, again, we're going back to, I'm not looking for the actual walls to have any influence in the sound. I'm trying to get it away from the walls since I'm limited on space. So you'll notice they're in pretty far, but I'm still getting a bit of a stereo image as opposed to just a single mono mic. And in the way this is set up too, if you wanted to just use it as a single mono, you can. I like to use ribbon mics or neutral sounding condensers like older 414s that will capture the top end and not really give you a lot of that cymbal wash. And you'll also notice, and in this case, this is how I learned this from Daryl Thorpe, Foo Fighters recording engineer and a bunch of other records, great engineer, great drum sounds. And he likes to place the room mics very close to the floor because you're picking up all of the air that's coming from the drum kit. That's what the room's about. The higher up you bring the microphones, the more you're going to get the cymbal sound in there, and you've already got enough cymbal sound going into the close mics, going into your overheads. This way, that the air that's being pushed from the kick, everything that's being pushed from the toms down on the floor is reflecting into your room mics. And this allows you to be able to, if you want to aggressively compress or anything like that, you're going to minimize the cymbal wash. Because I can't tell how many overheads I've gotten, room mics I've gotten in drum recordings sent to me to mix, where it's just there's so much cymbal bleed in the room mics. And typically they're so overcompressed when you get them, you can't do anything further with them. You just kind of, again, you're back to fighting the lesser of two evils of how much of the actual room tone you can use, and you usually end up just using samples more than the actual room mics that were recorded. So that is my biggest, for me, my biggest takeaway from this is make sure you're not super close to walls, and really, in fact, I think Daryl has his microphones like down here. He's got them even lower than I do, and his room mics sound great. Once I started miking the rooms like that, I never looked back because it really did. It sounded a lot better. Because again, I see a lot of guys that do it, and again, I've had them in my mix files too when I get them sent to me, that if they have them more in that overhead position, or even just more like where it's somewhat close to level with the cymbals, they'll get that weird oscillation sound, and it's just awful. It just sounds terrible. So that's what I like to do. And again, this is all simple stuff. It's just maximizing and just doing a little bit of research into how you need to utilize your space to get the best results. Because these little room mics right here in this, I've got 8-foot ceilings down here, and right now I'm lucky that I have some depth to this room. Eventually there's going to be another wall added to separate the control room. But even then, the way it's going to be set up, I'm still going to have these rooms set up very similar, and it's still going to have a similar sound, keeping them away from the walls like that, and capturing as much air as you can from the room. And again, if he gets a shot here of my ceilings, I'm using scatter plates here to diffuse rather than absorb where the room mics are, because it's just allowing it to capture every bit of air. That's what I'm trying to capture, this as much air of the room as I can. So then when you do compress it, you actually kind of get a much bigger sounding drum room than you would actually think. And in the next video, we're going to talk about an option that can absolutely make your drums sound huge, and everyone can do this from home. So stick around for that one.